One of the main ingredients to live a spiritual life is to practice פינסאן, to practice the protection of your eyes, which simply means that we think that information that we learn in a book or that we read and that we're conscious about, and we make conscious choices, what's the information that we're taking into our body, that's really what's informing our subconscious, that's really what's informing ourselves. The truth is that there's many different subliminal images or subliminal messages that we receive from the world. It could be sounds, it could be smells, it could be tastes, it could be visions, things that we're receiving that we're not conscious about. And those unconscious imagery that we take into our body, they also implant themselves into our consciousness, and they will form our consciousness, and they will form our actions and our thoughts. So sometimes a person says, I've been studying or I've been learning the whole day, and for some reason I have these terrible thoughts. Well, the terrible thoughts are not coming from nowhere. It's not happening in a vacuum. It's because maybe you're not even conscious what you took into your body, but when a person is open to receive things on the subliminal level, they receive information that they're not even conscious of it. That affects their subconscious and their deeper consciousness, and that affects why they're having these types of thoughts. So the very simple technique is to make sure that you protect your eyes, to consciously at least walk into spaces, to places, and always be in a place that you feel is conducive for your spiritual growth. To always try to be around an environment that is conducive for what you really, how you want to live your life. That's grade one. That's step one. It also is true that today a lot of people live in a modern world, and we live in a world that's very exposed. And a person that's walking down the street sometimes is exposed to different imagery that necessarily is consistent with their spiritual values. So there's another way how to do this, a little bit more subtle. Instead of shutting your eyes, which is practice number one, grade one, it's to learn how to look at things. Back to Rav Pinson. Rav Pinson once said that when they asked him, what does a person do with machshavas haras, what does a person do with negative thoughts? He says, a horse is just a horse. This is his response, which is something very deep, which means like something I think it means like this, that in life, when we look at something, whatever we're looking at, let's say you're looking at a nice car, and the car is just an example of things that you can be looking at. You look at a nice car, there are two things that are happening now. One is, you're looking at the car, and the car is just the car. Then there's your narrative that you project in your relationship with the car. What can I do with the car? How can I have the car? Who can own the car? What the car will bring for me? What kind of steam will I have walking down the street with this car, etc., which is already your narrative that's projected onto the car. Rav Pinson is saying, and I think this is what's a very deep teaching, is that we have to learn how to look at things and separate the seeing itself from the narrative of what we're seeing. And that's Kedusha. Kedusha means separation. Separation means I'm looking at things, but I'm not attached to it from the place of my narrative. It's not what I can do with the car and what the car looks like. Just the thing in itself. Sometimes you can see something that's very beautiful. If you could just see the thing on its own without projecting your narrative and your story into the thing that you're seeing, then there's nothing wrong with that. It's actually holy, because everything in this world is holy. Everything in the world is perfect. It's just our projections and our narratives that we superimpose into every single thing that we see, which creates the negativity. So grade one is to protect your eyes and just make sure you don't walk in places that you shouldn't be, and that you don't want to, because it's not conducive, it's not consistent with what you want. But if you find yourself in situations, to train yourself to practice Kedusha. Kedusha means separation. Separation means take the narrative out of the thing that you're seeing. Take the equation of yourself. See the thing for itself without what is my involvement in that. And this is a very subtle way of living and a very high level of living. And this expands to every single issue in our lives.